Hello, it is Sunday, January 29th, 2023. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Sunday puzzle today, so a big grid. We can see this jumbo grid hiding behind the gauzy privacy veil. So I hope you've got time. I hope you're settled in. Maybe you have I should have made myself a cup of coffee, but I didn't. Maybe you have that, and you're ready to solve this big, oversized grid today, entitled enticingly The Final Frontier. I wonder what that means in this context anyway. Well, this mysteriously titled edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Bradley Pirtle, Alex, Laura Sexton, and, as always, the invaluable Timothy Mark and the indomitable Shulmaster. So thank you so much to the 5 of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for supporting this channel. I do very much appreciate that. Thank you to my benefactors for keeping this channel going. And if you'd like to become one of them, you can join the Daily Solve Patreon campaign at patreon.com/dailysolve or in a link in the description field underneath the video, and then you'll get the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses official mug. But of course, you'll also get access to all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the channel to date, as well as the new ones that go up each week. And do you know who else gets access to all of those? It's everybody who has backed the Patreon campaign, everybody who is a current patron. And thank you to all of you who have done so. I do very much appreciate that. You can, of course, do that at that same link in the description field. So thank you to everyone on the Patreon campaign. And do also subscribe to the channel on YouTube if you've not done so. Thanks to everybody who has subscribed. And you can join the Daily Solve Discord chat server. There's a link there, along with, in the same place you can find the link to the Patreon campaign. All right, let's get on to today's puzzle. It will likely take a good deal of time, so we should get started. This is a debut construction by Rich Katz, his first New York Times crossword, and it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's start solving the final frontier. Let's see what new lands we will explore in the solving. Visitor center handouts. Could be maps. That seems likely. French wine region. I don't know. Maybe it's not maps, or maybe it is, and I just don't know the French wine region. That's just as likely. Series of trade discounts. Question mark indicates some sort of pun or wordplay, and I'm not sure which element of the sentence is relevant there. Portmanteau invitations. Portmanteau invitations. So we're going to be combining words or phrases. Portmanteau, I'm not sure. Website overseers in brief. SysOps, system operators. You don't see that phrase much these days, but I think that's what the answer is. Like a pub crawler's breath, perhaps. Beery? I mean, you could smell alcohol on their breath. I mean, what? Show some reluctance. And relative of ciao, adios. So just a sort of different way to say a casual goodbye in another European language. Shipper of British toilets. Oh, and there's an asterisk. That probably means this is a theme clue. And in fact, surely it is, because we've got these central. Oh, wow. All right. Well, it's a very highly themed puzzle today. Voyage by rocket, or a feature of the answers to the 12 starred clues. Wow. Okay. Well, I don't obviously have any idea what that is just yet. Let's just keep going through the puzzle. Crew supervisor on a merchant ship. Bosun? Maybe? Image on a postcard from Yellowstone. I don't know what do they have there? Hot springs, or geysers? I don't know. Western Hemisphere Treaty Group. Well, it's not NATO, obviously. Organization of American States? Or nations, is it? Which is it? Painting of potatoes, e.g. I don't know what I'm making a mess of this. Exhorts, urges. You exhort somebody to do something. Blank down what this is. 9 down. Oh, that's funny. That's a gimme, so I can use it, that's for sure. Embarrassing pants mishap. Some sort of rip. A seat rip, the seat of your pants. Does that mean anything? Seat trip. I don't know. That works with this OA. I just don't remember what the last letter is. Image on a postcard from Yellowstone. Oh, yeah, why is this highlighted? 5 down in Spanish. Oh, a bear. So oso? Okay. I never met a blank I didn't like. Oh, lasagna. Garfield, the cartoon cat, likes lasagna and hates Mondays. Item tossed into a fire at the end of Citizen Kane. I'm sorry for the spoiler, but it was a sled. Buddy. Pal? Something you might use just for the halibut. A reel? A fishing reel? So obviously, I mean, I almost feel as though we don't even need the question mark here because halibut is so obviously being used in a punny context. But yeah, fair enough. Painting of potatoes, e.g. So seed rip was correct. So I don't know. Sea trip. Is that a phrase? Sea trip. We're taking a sea trip. I suppose so. Painting of potatoes, e.g. Could it be a reference to Starry Night, the painting somehow? Is there some way, some way there's a, I don't know. I don't think so. Wanda Sykes, Regina Hall, and Amy Schumer for the 2022 Oscars. Are they going to MC it? Are they the MCs? I don't know. I'm not up on what's going on with this year's Oscars, but that might be the answer. So painting of potato. Oh, starch something. Starch art? Oh, right. Oh, starch art. Oh. What did this say again? Voyage by rocket or a feature of the answers to the 12-starred clues. So something about travel. I mean, a star chart you could use on a sea trip to navigate, maybe. So there's something going on here. Voyage by rocket. But voyage by, I mean, these don't need to be relevant to the rocket bit because presumably we're going to be using the other way to read this clue that's going to be more relevant to the sea trip star chart business. But anyway, we'll get there eventually, presumably. Va-va-voom, sort of a slightly quaint expression of, I don't know, enthusiasm or maybe attraction. Big fight for a Disney heroine from Polynesia. Moana is the character, a Polynesian Disney character. Big fight. Moana. I don't know. don't feel I'm in top form today. Set of options, a menu. I'm not impressed. Meh. West of Hollywood. Mae West was a Hollywood actor, and she was known for her quips. Okay, impulsive sorts. Neurons? The question mark here makes me think we're not referring to people, but rather in this case, sort of anatomical or biological elements that deal with nerve impulses here. How a parent serving as the tooth fairy might walk. On tiptoe? There we go. That would make sense. Supported. Not sure. Agree. Concur? There we go. Blank goose, cousin of Donald Duck. I don't know. Les Goose, Wes Goose. I'm trying to think of names that would fit with the S there. Some sci-fi effects. Some sci-fi effects. CGI. Oh, Gus Goose, I suppose. There we go. And that makes much more sense. It's alliterative. So acne spot, informally, is it? So not a spot as in a location, but a spot as in the actual sort of dot itself. Divides into sectors, zones. You could zone a neighborhood or a town, divide it into sectors. So, a moan about? Oh, moan about. You moan about something. So what does moan about have to do with our star chart aided sea trip? I don't know. Maybe I'm on the wrong track with that. Affectionate attention for short. TLC, tender loving care. And supported, bolstered. There we go. Word with cane or cone. Sugar cane or sugar cone. And fish with a long snout is a gar. That's a fish. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. Line from Hal in 2001. So, the Stanley Kubrick film 2001: A Space Odyssey. This is what the computer how he replies when Dave wants to be let back into the spacecraft. Ties again. Refastens or something. I don't know if that. There are probably other options there, so I don't think I should go ahead and write that in. Neither blows it nor crushes it. Does okay. So on an exam, perhaps you didn't blow it, but you didn't fail, but you didn't crush it. You didn't ace it, so you did okay. Anguish following a dance marathon. Sore knee or sore back or sore. Probably could be almost anything really, depending on what sort of dancing you were doing, I suppose. Spanish gentleman. A senor or a. Not sure. Botch, to misdo, to do something in error. I don't know if that's. There are probably other possibilities there. Des Plaines, Illinois. Sorry. Because there's also Des Moines. So I don't know that I know Des Plaines. I assume it's pronounced Des Plaines like Des Moines, but maybe it's not. In any case, I suspect this is the name of a city in Illinois. I'm going to leave it in because I'm relatively confident. Like some tans. Sunburn, it doesn't really work. Okay. Set apart. Isolate someone or something. Main course featuring Egyptian snake meat. I was going to say, oh, that's interesting, and then I realized it's one of these portmanteau ones, so it's probably not a real thing. So, main course. It'll end with entree, which refers to a main dish in U.S. English as opposed to elsewhere where it refers to a starter. So, asp entree. Aspen tree. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm on the wrong track with this. It has nothing to do with travel. Travel. Space travel. Oh, I see. A feature of the answers to the 12 starred quiz. I see. Sorry, I was a little slow on this. So the space in the word literally, the space in the phrase, has literally traveled. It has moved. So seat rip and sea trip, those obviously are the same letters because they're both created by this fill, but the space has traveled one cell in order to produce the changed resultant phrase. That's very good. I see. Space travel. Very clever. Okay, so it was just a coincidence, I suppose, that I happened to first see sea trip and star chart, which felt like they were maybe relevant to one another in the context of something that we were going to arrive at with a travel-related thing. But no, I think that was a complete coincidence. All right, quarterback Patrick, who is 2018's NFL MVP. I have no idea. Street smarts are... I don't know that either. Portuguese greeting, hola. And SNL alumna Maya Rudolph is a comic actor. Boarding school where tailcoats are part of the dress code. Oh, it's probably Eton. That's fancy. I mean, this is true. Honestly, even in British crosswords, Eton, where, obviously, so in the Times, Eton is very frequently any sort of British school or fancy school. It's very often Eton. But even in Britain, where you'd think more schools would be referenced because more of them would be known. And that is true to some extent. Eton is still incredibly overrepresented in crossword references and in as an alma mater for prime ministers. Okay, QB Patrick, who was 2018's NFL MVP. I don't think this rings a bell for me still. On its way. If something's on its way, it's been sent. And hill worker could be an ant, so an ant in an anthill. And like some tans. Oh, spray-on tans. Yeah, still don't know that. Street smarts. Oh, horse sense. I was thinking this was going to be one of those. As I was typing it in, I was looking for how it was going to be a different phrase, but no, it's not. There's no asterisk. It's not a start answer. Brawl site in old westerns, a saloon. A shootout at a saloon is a classic trope of westerns. Fast line at the airport informally. Oh, TSA pre-check. So the actual name of this service is TSA pre-check, but the way it's officially sort of written out is the letters TSA PRE and then a tiny little green check mark. So I think almost everybody who says it doesn't realize it just looks like it says TSA pre. It's in fact TSA pre-check, but anyway. I think when this says informally, I think it's not so much that people say this informally as much as they say it inadvertently because it's not clear that it's actually not the name of the service. Which is not their fault. It's the fault of whoever designed that logo graphic. Okay, Iditarod for short. Oh, that's a dog sled race, I think. So what would that be? Bourbon alternative, rye whiskey, an alternative to bourbon whiskey. The start of something, an S, the start of the word something, presumably, just the letter S. And the question mark is the pun indicator there is pointing us in that direction. Start is often used in pun answers in that way. Some track and field races, relay races perhaps, and, oh, right, sorry. This was Señors. Why did I not? Oh, because I wanted to put the S here, I guess. Okay, Señores. Iditarod for one. Parka races or something? Parka. You need to wear a parka, perhaps. I'm not sure. As a friend in French, en ami. That's a bit. That's not nearly as common as this isn't a French phrase. The en bit, which means sort of, as or in or with, kind of depending on the context. That's not really a word that I think is used very often as a loan word in English. So that's a bit surprising as an inclusion. But I guess the crosses make it not too tough. But let me know how you found that. Layer between the Earth's crust, the mantle, and something made off the cuff. Off the cuff, so the question mark, something to do with shirt cuffs maybe, or something like that. U-Haul offering, a van, a U-Haul moving van, for instance. Oh, Park Avenue? Parka venue. Oh, right. Okay, so the location for parkas? That must be it. I'm sure this is the answer. I'm probably not parsing it brilliantly. Ties again is, oh right, what did I say this was? Refastens. Let's try that and see if it holds. Something made off the cuff. Insole, I don't know why that would be the case. Anguish following a dance marathon. Sore feet, right. Don't know why I didn't think of the most obvious thing that would be sore up to your feet that you've been on all night or whatever it was. Office PC setup could be a LAN, a local area network. It connects your computers to your modem, your internet provider. Noted Speedway sponsor could be, STP. They make motor oil, I want to say, and are sort of a ubiquitous sponsor of motor racing events. Okay, an alliance could be an entente, perhaps. And something made off the cuff. Oh, seam. An inseam, perhaps. So it is clothing related. And then singer Abdul, Paula Abdul. And if you appear a given way, you seem that way. So what a beehive is made of, and this is not a pun, it's not a portmanteau answer. So I guess portmanteau is the wrong, I shouldn't be calling these portmanteaus because they're not. They're two entirely separate words, one after the other. Sorry about that. I'm sure someone will pull me up on that. But yes, sorry. I think I just said that. I think I've been using that because we had this portmanteau invitations, and I think it sort of got lodged in my brain, and I just started using that word to describe these. But yes, these theme answers are not portmanteaus. Okay, what a beehive is made of. A beehive is made of teased hair, so an updo, a beehive, this sort of, at this point, sort of retro or dated hairstyle. You tease the hair up. Scratch out is eke out a living, say. Scratch out a living, eke out a living. Sign unlikely to have been written by the person it is attached to. Oh, kick me, the classic sort of schoolyard prank sign on someone's back. Your karma ran over my dogma, classic dad joke. There we go. Tiny arachnids. Are mites, maybe? Are mites arachnids? Stolen treats in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Are they tarts? I don't actually remember, to be honest with you. It's just going to be Erse. Yes, language of the Emerald Isle. So Erse, Gallic language, is it? Or Celtic language, sorry. And then Man of Music, Amy Mann, the great Amy Mann. She's come up in the crossword a few times. And Mardi Gras, of course. Sorry, I was just thinking about Amy Mann. but I was distracted. Mardi Gras, obviously the holiday. So components of some high-tech dog collars is an RFID tag? Right, okay, that makes sense that those could be included in dog collars. And so RFID, I don't remember what it stands for. Radio frequency identification, maybe? That's just a guess. But it seems plausible. But yeah, used to sort of physically locate things that are tagged in that way. Substance heft, maybe? His argument had substance, it had heft. And rest spot for a tabby. A pet chair? Doesn't really seem right. Something hair is going to be part of this. No, it's not, because it's TC. Oh, it'll be something air. No. Oh, yeah, no, it will be. It will be. Rest spot for a tabby. Sorry, why do I not see what this is? Pet chair, petch air. Doesn't make any sense. Oh, cat chair, catch air. Oh, right, okay. So catch air, what does that mean? Is that, maybe that's a baseball thing? You sort of miss a ball that you're trying to catch, you catch air? Don't actually know, but that would be my guess, I suppose. But in any case, cat chair becomes catch air. All right, Hindu embodiment of virtue. Rama. And manage is call? Don't think so. Parent who's fluent in emojis and modern slang, maybe. A cool mom? That's a funny answer. Cool mom. Manage. I don't actually know if it is the answer, but it's just my guess. A lot of money. A mill would be a lot of money, and the lotta indicates the sort of slangy nature of the answer. So mill for million. Do some barbering on. Style someone's hair, maybe give them an updo, a beehive. Manage is cope. I'll manage, I'll cope. I see. Brew that's both bitter and fruity. Brew could be an IPA, India Pale Ale, which could also be found in a sea trip, actually, that they may have used a star chart to navigate, because IPA, India Pale Ale, is so named because it was sort of hoppy enough to, someone correct me if I'm wrong on this, but my understanding is, my memory anyway, is from long sea voyage from India back to presumably Britain, or wherever, I suppose, the beer would be, it would hold up. Okay, so Dual IPA, Dua Lipa is a performer. What would that? Oh, so right. So Dua Lipa would have been the original phrase, and then Dual IPA, I guess, is sort of a. That sounds like a real thing. Is a double IPA a real thing? There's definitely, now I can't remember what it is, but there is some variety of IPA has something prefixed and it means it's more intense, and I don't remember what it's called. TV screen option for short. An LCD, a liquid crystal display, I think. Chits could be, maybe I have something wrong here. Chits, Sues maybe? Not one sou, not one small amount of money or something? Maybe not. Diane Sawyer's real first name. Oh, IOUs, right. A chit meaning a sort of, so I was on the right track when I was thinking of a kind of stand-in for money, but an IOU, so, a note indicating your liability. Diane Sawyer's real first name, Lisa, I guess. It could be Lila or something, but let's see. Swell. Maybe it is something else. Swell Bloat, maybe? Maybe it is Lila or Lila. Soul Singers. Oh, okay. Well, here's another sort of performing act I've actually heard of is BTS, who are a sort of boy band from Korea. Apologies if I've mischaracterized them by calling them a boy band, but that's what they seem to be. Okay, friend in a competition. Friend in a competition. Something ally, obviously. And then tally will presumably be the second word of the other phrase, the original phrase, I suppose. But let's keep looking around for now. Small batteries, AAAs. Oh, the thinks you can think up if only you try, Dr. Seuss. I think that's from, is that from All the Places You'll Go? I'm not sure. It might not be, but perhaps. It's been a long time since I've read it, to be honest, but I remember really liking that one. Okay, voice of dissent is nay, perhaps? Yay, nay. Friend in a competition. Okay, right. So this is the something ally. Friend. Oh, I don't know. Take up a notch. These are good, by the way. These would be good cryptic clues. I mean, this wouldn't be the most elegant example, but something like embarrassing pants mishap results in ocean voyage or something. And so you have to then sort of get to the seat rip and think, oh, I see. Well, you wouldn't necessarily get to that first, but you'd probably sort of come to them simultaneously and realize, oh, I see. One of them is sort of wordplay and the other one is an actual definition. That's very much, that's a style of cryptic crossword clue. And these would all be, I think, really good examples of how you might, sort of half of them, the wordplay half, and then you'd need a definition as well. Anyway, take up a notch. Let's see. Elevate. So a friend in a competition. Oh, event ally? Oh, right. Okay. So I was thinking, I was on the wrong track with this for some reason. I somehow reversed which bit. Not worth explaining, but I was thinking about this clue incorrectly. Anyway, so the event ally, a friend in a competition, is a space travel from even tally. There we go. So extreme vexation could be ire, anger. And closing words, exiles, there's a closing words. Not sure about that. Maybe this isn't elevate, take up a notch. Is there something else similar to that? Shortage of slime. Okay, dearth of goo dearth. Yes, good earth. Okay. So a dearth of goo, a goo dearth, and that is a weird phrase to say, is a space travel modification from good earth. So there we go. If we put this L back in, would that help? Closing words. Still not seeing it. Many millennia, an eon, an extremely long length of time, sort of indeterminately long length of time. Part of ESL, that's English as a second language, so ENG. Oh, an epilogue? Are closing words of a book, for instance, right? I usually think of epilogue as having a UE at the end. It's sort of actually weird to see it spelled this way, but I'm sure this is a valid spelling. All right, so lead into X, Y, or Z. Those could be referencing Generation X, Y, or Z. And a car that won't start is a common one in horror films, a common trope of someone trying to escape from a murderer or something. All right, green prefix could be eco for ecological. Mountain lake. What is a word for a mountain lake? I don't know. I probably do, but I can't think. Pulitzer-winning novelist Laurie. I don't know. Doesn't ring a bell. I wonder if I'll recognize it when I see it. Grabs lunch, say. Has a bite, maybe? No. Grab? No, grabs is in the clue. Well, it's probably a bite. So let's look at the crosses on that. NFL positions that sound like a fast food chain. Oh, Arby's. Running backs. Arby's, the fast food chain Arby's. Okay. Stephen of the Crying Game. Stephen, the actor Stephen in the crossword seems to almost always be Stephen Ray. I've actually never seen the Crying Game, but Stephen Ray comes up all the time. So, okay, they tell me, I hear, standing at the ready, on alert, in a sort of military context maybe, and byproduct of composting would be dioxin or something? I'm not sure. I assume this means a chemical byproduct of composting food waste or, that yard waste and that sort of thing. Wow, super. Oh, neat, maybe. Staging of a narc sting. Okay, so this will be something about a drug bust or something like that. Small figures. Ends with an S, maybe? Portmanteau invitations. Probably ends with an S. Well, of course, we thought this would anyway. Grabs lunch. Gets a bite, maybe? Gets a bite sounds a little bit odd to me, but it's plausible. Oh, biogas, maybe. Maybe a fuel byproduct or something like that. Sort of an alternative to natural gas, something like that, perhaps. That hits the spot. Ah, okay, there we go. This looks all right. So does that help here? Small figures. Boys? I don't know why that would be a figure, a figure of a person, but that would be an odd way to. Doesn't really work. Probably ends with an S. Portmanteau, proposals of some sort. Right. So we have So the portmanteau, we're going to need to involve another word here. So something else goes in here to create promposals, prompt and proposal. That's horrible sounding. Don't want it to be that, and I presume it is not. Visitor center handouts. Oh, right, maps. That works with that P if we do think this is something to do with proposals. Series of trade discounts. I don't know. Could this be beery? Pub crawler's breath? That again works with the proposals thing. Series of trade discounts. AEIOU, why is that the case? Oh, right, because the phrase trade discounts has all 5 vowels, AEIOU, in sequence, exactly once each. Oh, look at that, that's very good. AEIOU, okay, I never would have been able to get that out of the blue, but with the crosses, it made a lot more sense. Shipper of British toilets. Shipper. So a loo, I assume, is the toilet. Look over, loo, cover, a loo. What is this someone who ships things? I just can't think of any phrases that, I mean, look over feels like what it would be. Do I have something wrong that would, here that would, va-va, is that not voom? I don't understand. Loom over? Oh, loom over. Sorry. That was incredibly straightforward. Okay, someone who moves British toilets. A loom mover. Someone who ships them. Okay, great. So maybe this is promposal. That's horrible. Show some reluctance. You balk at a request that's been made of you. Modern day groundskeeper. Oh, that's so odd. This was in the crossword just this week already. We've had so many repeats this week. K-cup pod. So modern day groundskeeper. So it holds coffee grounds. A K-cup, that Keurig coffee cup technology. Oh, Medoc, I have seen this. I'm not enough of. I'm extremely uneducated when it comes to wine, so this wasn't obvious off the top of my head, but I do recognize it now that I see it as a French wine region. All right, so this was promposals. That's terrible. I don't like that at all. Has anyone ever said that in actual reality? Sorry, I'm going to quickly search Google for promposal. Oh, it's a TV series from 2017. Oh, ways to ask someone to prom, a promposal. Why do we need a name for that? That's so odd. Okay, well, whatever. Okay, small figures. Staging of a narc sting. One rounded up in a roundup. Sorry, I can't get promposals out of my head. It's really distracting me. It is such an unpleasant collection of syllables. Promposal, just weird. Mountain lake. Okay, I'm just going to keep. What have I not seen? Symptom of burnout, fatigue. Keg attachment, a ale tap or something maybe. Furbies or fidget spinners are fads, so Furbies or fidget spinners would be a fad because we're only referring either to Furbies or fidget spinners, just one of the two, so a single fad. In the manner of could be a la. Oh, maybe this is LTAP. Terrific messenger at Hogwarts. Okay, this is a Harry Potter thing. I'm not going to know the answer. But we'll get there with the crosses. Frustrating process. A big problem in some way. I don't know. Maybe, probably not. 1%ers are elites, and one rounded up in a round. Oh, steer, so a cattle roundup. Frustrating rigmarole, which in British English, I believe, is spelled without its first A. I think would just be spelled rigmarole. Okay. Do I recognize this novelist? I don't think so. Eleanor, perhaps? Staging of a narc sting. Right, I could probably, if I spend some time on this, I could probably get it. So, staging of a narc sting. Staging. And what was this? Small figures. I don't know. This area is giving me some trouble. Let's see. What can I do over here? Is that a challenge? Dare me. You're going to dare me to do this? So this looks like heater. Oh, theater. Staging. Oh, staging something in a theatrical context. Oh, that's surprising. Heat theater? Heath eater? Death eater? Why do I not see what this is? Oh, maybe it is Death Eater, because small figures could be bods. So a figure referring to one's physique, and then a way to make that is a body, and then a way to make that small is to turn it into bod, a sort of abbreviation of it. That's plausible. So, oh, I see. DEA theater. So Death Eater, the original phrase, becomes DEA theater, Drug Enforcement Agency theater. Okay, there we go. Very clever. All right, film brand. Saran Wrap is a cling film brand. Kitchen sort of plastic wrap. Hill workers. Oh, that's funny. We had ants somewhere in here as hill workers, but this will be aides probably because this, I think, will refer to Capitol Hill. So it's a U.S. sort of political jargon reference. The Hill is often used to refer to Capitol Hill and more broadly kind of federal politics. And so aides to Congress people or whatever. Metric for a Met for short. Oh, RBI. So Met Met is one of those words with about 8,000 different. It's a term that refers to about 1,000 different organizations. 8,000, I think I originally said, but one of them is the New York Mets baseball team. So RBI runs batted in or something like that. Sorry, I once learned this through the crossword, and now I'm not sure I've remembered it properly. Okay, terrific messenger at Hogwarts. Oh, super terrific. Oh, I see. Super Bowl superb owl. So there must be a messenger owl in Hogwarts who is a superb owl. The joke that is made every year about the Super Bowl is it being intentionally misinterpreted as superb owl. So Allison is the answer here, right? Okay. And then Mountain Lake Tarn. Okay, that rings a bell, but I wouldn't have jumped to it. Okay, angry and impatient. In a mood. Sovereigns singular, the royal we. People use this strangely inaccurately all the time. People very often use the royal we to refer to we as in several people, but the entire point is that that's the normal we. The royal we is when you just use it to refer to yourself in the singular. That's the whole point of the royal we. It doesn't just mean we. It's not just a fancy way to say we. It specifically refers to the singular first person we. Okay, Dallas Hoopster for short. Dallas Maverick, that rings a bell. Cries feebly is snivels, a sort of feeble, sniveling cry. Knights and noblemen could be sir, they could be knighted. And privy to, if you're privy to information, you're in on it. And request for permission is may I, and then kind of card sold in many international airports, right? You could buy a SIM card for a sort of prepaid mobile phone plan, perhaps. And here we go. All right, well, there we go. 41 minutes, certainly a long video. That's how it goes on Sunday. Sorry about that. But it's just what happens when we talk through a grid of this size. And I had a few areas where I'm trying to remember now where it was that I was particularly struggling. Maybe over here a bit, I think, and possibly over here a little bit as well. Anyway, let's go over our theme of space travel. Very, very well done. Finding 12 of these. Good Lord. Yes, well done to Rich Katz. So we had our seat rip, a space travel from the phrase sea trip. We had our starch art from Star Chart. Our loom mover from Loom Over. That one's good. It's especially fun when they change vowel pronunciations because I think that does make them more difficult to get because you can't just sort of think of the same syllables in your head and try to rearrange them a bit. You actually have to think of fundamentally different syllables. Anyway, we also had our asp entree. Oh, from Aspen Tree, right. I didn't realize, I don't think I pointed out at the time or didn't even notice perhaps that it's not that the space always travels exactly by one space. It's just that it travels at all. So space is being used here to mean, obviously the space between words. It's not that it's moving one space in the crossword. So Aspen Tree, right. The asp entree and Aspen Tree, the space has moved 2 cells in that case. Park Avenue and Parka Venue. That was one where I guess the Iditarod is the venue, so it's a venue in which you would wear a parka, so that does make sense. And the DEA Theater from Death Eater, that's another one where we've moved 2 cells. The space has moved 2 cells. Our Superb Owl from the Super Bowl, and our Event Ally from Even Tally, our Goo Dearth from Good Earth. I like that one as well. It's very good. It's a dearth of goo is a very funny phrase. What else do we have? We have Cat Chair from Catch Air, and that's another 2-cell space mover. And finally, we have our dual IPA from Dua Lipa. Very good. That's a very nice collection of a dozen of these silly phrases. Well done to Rich Katz on his New York Times crossword debut. Let me know how you found this puzzle, how you found the theme and the puzzle more broadly. I'm always interested to know. I'm going to head over to the Discord and see what people have been saying about it. And there we have it. That was the Sunday puzzle. Hope you enjoyed. I'll be back tomorrow for the much simpler, much quicker Monday crossword themed, nice simple themed crossword to start off the week. So look forward to that. Until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Sunday. Take care.